A violent confrontation results in a loss of life.
Tonight, one man is dead as police investigate a stabbing in East York. Good evening. We begin with our city's latest homicide.
A man fatally stabbed in the middle of the afternoon. Investigators confirming a short time ago a suspect is in custody. CTV's Janice Golding joins us live from the scene tonight near Woodbine and O'Connor. What have you learned, Janice?
Hi, Michelle. I can tell you that the residents in this East York high-rise are reeling tonight. You can actually see them behind us here. They're all talking amongst themselves about the victim, many of whom they claim to know the actual victim, who they say is a man in his 30s. Now, police say that they got a call around 2:30 this afternoon about a stabbing in this building, and when they arrived on scene, they located a man with multiple wounds. He was rushed to hospital in a life-threatening condition, but he would not survive those injuries. Now, inside the building, as we speak, I can tell you that I've personally seen police patrolling the 11th floor as well as a stairwell on the 15th floor. We do know that the man who was stabbed lived in this building. We do not know the precise relationship between he and the suspect. However, as you say, police believe that they knew each other. Now, police say that they have not released the name of either the victim or the suspect. However, friends have identified the victim as a 33-year-old man who they say is named Dwight. They say that they cannot understand how this could have happened. We have more from them and from police now.
On scene, we had a male that was arrested. I can tell you that the male and the victim are known to each other. We are not looking for any additional suspects. We understand that this is a very tragic event and that our thoughts go out with the family and the community of those affected.
He was the best guy ever. He always a good guy, good dad, everything. I don't know what happened.
I'm shocked. I have no emotions right now. I can't even process this right now. I'm beside myself. I don't know what to feel.
Now, friends and witnesses showed us images of a man being led away in handcuffs, but we're not showing them to you at this point because we do not know the suspect's age. Anyone with any information or any surveillance video or a videotape that they took from their own cameras is asked to contact police as soon as they can. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. To the West End, and a terrifying moment for a driver on a residential street near Eglinton and Renforth. A tree came crashing down on some wires, with it then landing on a vehicle. This was on Gentian and Wellsworth Drives. The driver says he saw a flash of lightning seconds before the tree came down and was trapped in the vehicle for a short time.
So I was just driving, it was raining, the rain came down hard, we saw lightning coming up farther down, and then out of nowhere, the whole windshield is green, tree fell down. I pressed the brakes just before, and now we're here.
He was eventually able to get out of the vehicle and no injuries were reported. Crews are on scene working to clear the tree from the street.
We turn to cottage country where crews continue to battle 3 wildfires.
2 of them remain out of control. The persistent hot, dry conditions now prompting fire bans across several regions in the GTA. CTV's Raheem Ladani joins us live now with the latest on the fire situation. Raheem.
Hey, Nathan. Well, I can tell you that this continues to be a very fluid situation. At this time, no evacuation orders have been given. But the city of Kawartha Lakes says its resources, community centers, and public buildings that could be used should change that. You can see the large section of burned forest stretching across this area in Kirkfield Village within Kawartha Lakes, as crews continue their battle against a 33-hectare wildfire.
Personnel from the Halliburton Fire Management Headquarters are responding to the fire with 5 fire ranger crews and air attack. The fire is not under control.
Farms are actively moving their animals to safety, away from the grass fire that sparked Monday afternoon. That fire is now larger than another wildfire in Kawartha Lakes. After 3 days of battling, first responders say the 27-hectare forest fire between Bob Cajun and Kinmount is contained, but still burning out of control. Officials believe an electrical storm is responsible for sparking the blaze, but say debris from an ice storm earlier this year continues to complicate firefighting efforts.
That forest is so thick, and with the debris on the ground, they can't actively access it.
As the wildfires north of Toronto continue to burn, several cities across the Greater Toronto Area have issued fire bans. Ajax, Aurora, Newmarket, Oakville, Oshawa, Peterborough, and Richmond Hill have suspended all open-air burning until further notice.
All open-air burning, so you can still barbecue, but of course fireworks, any campfires or open fires, even people with active burn permits are canceled at this time. And if anybody sees anything, definitely call 911 or report the burning.
Residents are also being asked to use extreme caution while using propane or gas-powered equipment and to discard cigarette butts properly.
Into a metal container, and just before you go to bed, we ask that you just put some water in that container.
Violations of the bylaw could lead to charges under the Ontario Fire Code. And to give you a better sense of how serious law enforcement takes these open-air fire bans, in Ajax, the penalty can be a $50,000 fine, imprisonment, or both. Reporting live, I'm Raheem Ladani. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Raheem. And our wildfire coverage will continue later in the newscast. We'll have the very latest on the situation in eastern Canada, an update on expanded evacuation orders, and renewed efforts to get the wildfires under control.
Well, here at home, the intense heat has not helped matters. We've endured a multi-day heat event, the daytime highs coupled with humidity, also a recipe for potentially stormy weather. It's looking a little bit ominous out there as we look at the skyline. Lindsay Morrison is here. She's had her eye on the sky all day. What are you noticing?
Well, Michelle, lots of people celebrating the fact that we have finally had some rain here in the GTA in the month of August. We had no measurable rain this month up until today, and we've had a few rounds of it. Sometimes in the form of thunderstorms, other times simply showers, but that's okay. We will take it. Right now, we have a little bit of active weather between Cookstown and Newmarket. We've also got an impressive cell making its way through Fenelon Falls and the Kawartha Lakes area. Hopefully that rain is enough to help douse some of the wildfire activity. It's not likely to be enough, but again, anything will help at this time. There is a severe thunderstorm warning in place there. Otherwise, it's the heat warning. Now, conditions have cooled slightly with the arrival of this active weather. It's 26 degrees right now, still feeling into the 30s. And overnight, we are looking at a low of 22. Still going to be hot tomorrow, just not quite as bad. We'll take you through the forecast coming up. For now, Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. There is finally an end in sight for businesses hit hard by construction road closures for years in Little Jamaica.
Now there's a campaign to bring people back to the Eglinton and Dufferin area. CTV's Beth McDonnell joins us live from that corner of our city with the story. Beth.
Despite the Eglinton LRT still not being open, Metrolink says roads in Little Jamaica reopened in 2023, 2 years ago. But Black business owners say it's been difficult. During the years of construction, dozens of businesses have closed, and they say business still isn't back to normal yet. Gordon Ginetto is taking advantage of the new extra-wide sidewalk to cook some of his delicious jerk chicken. He's welcoming people back to Little Jamaica as part of Rastafest, happening along Eglinton West this week.
No joke, we have really good food down here, and you will not be disappointed.
Ginetto opened his restaurant Kingston 12 2 years ago. He specializes in patties and other Jamaican dishes. Since LRT construction began, about 30 Black-owned businesses between Marley and Kiel have closed.
So literally the sidewalk was closed, 100% closed. You couldn't get around, especially there's lots of dust. So you can't even open the doors for the customer to come in. There's lots of dust, lots of noise.
You see, we have arts from Africa here. We have from Egypt here.
Down the street, Maxwell Blackwood has been doing business in the area for 40 years. With construction done and streets and walkways open again, he's more than ready to see foot traffic and customers return.
This LRT have actually devastated the community, and what is so troublesome about it, it just looks like they don't care. You know, anybody can delay something, but if you just behave like nothing happened, that's really what is troubling.
He and other Black business owners are calling on all levels of government to support this historic and culturally rich area with Caribbean roots for it to stay vibrant. They say developers have moved in, buying up buildings, which is driving up rents.
A lot of incentives are done for the developers who are building the condos, but nothing for the business owners. So the business owners, we need financial incentive so we could stay afloat, pay our rent, survive as business owners. We're asking people to come on down and support all the stores along Eglinton between Dufferin and Marley.
Rastafest runs through the weekend. In addition to sales, activities, and a street market, expect lots of food and entertainment. An opportunity to show off the people, taste, and culture of Little Jamaica. $170 million support program. Things like a Shop Local campaign, as well as a program with signs saying open for business. Councillor Mike Cole says that City Council approved $150,000 to support the Little Jamaica Cultural District Plan. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. Still ahead, hundreds of educators gather in Toronto, taking aim at overcrowded classrooms. The campaign to reduce large elementary class sizes.
We have more tonight on the man accused of dangerous driving in a crash that killed Andrew Castillo, a father of 3, earlier this month.
The 18-year-old suspect appeared in court today. As CTV's John Woodward reports, he's also accused in a crash involving the Premier in January.
Jaywin Kirubananthan appeared in Newmarket Court by phone Tuesday afternoon in advance of a bail hearing Wednesday. He's charged with several counts, including dangerous driving causing death, and accused of fleeing the scene after a horrific head-on crash earlier this month that claimed the life of Andrew Castillo and seriously injured his wife and 3 daughters, 7-year-old Leah, 6-year-old Chloe, and 4-year-old Ella.
The girls are recovering from life-altering injuries. It's very difficult.
And it wasn't the first crash. Kirubananthan was also charged back in January with dangerous driving in a collision with a car carrying Ontario's Premier. A family member at Kirubananthan's Oshawa home referred questions to his lawyer. We took a look at that driver's history here at the Oshawa courthouse. It turns out after that crash with the Premier's car, he was charged with dangerous driving under the Criminal Code and stunt driving under the Highway Traffic Act. While he likely faced a 30-day initial suspension for the stunt driving charge, there were no further conditions imposed on his driving pending his criminal trial. That's astonishing, says road safety advocate Jess Speaker.
In a case where a driver is charged with dangerous driving, why on earth do we allow them to continue driving?
Castillo's wife, Christina, has been diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. Her family has lost its main breadwinner. She wrote on a GoFundMe page, "I've been fighting breast cancer for the past few years, doing everything I can to be here for my daughters. Now I'm facing the unimaginable, raising them without their dad while still fighting for my own health."
Their mother is a hero, has been from day one, and I know she's there for those children. And
That page has so far raised more than $350,000. John Woodward, CTV News.
Police are investigating a fatal collision west of Toronto. A male pedestrian was hit by a truck in Milton. It happened in the parking lot of a plaza at Scott Boulevard and Derry Road. Investigators haven't released any details on how it happened, and they're speaking to witnesses and viewing security video from stores and other businesses in the plaza.
Here in Toronto, a man is in custody after a vehicle struck a marked police cruiser and several other vehicles downtown. This happened in the area of Bay Street and Albert Street just before 3 p.m. Police have not indicated if anyone was injured. Bay Street was closed from Queen to Dundas for the ongoing investigation.
There are new developments tonight in a murder investigation in Hamilton. 2
arrests have been made after a man was found shot in a condo parking lot in late July. CTV's John Musselman has the update.
The murder took place in Dundas on July 27th around 5 p.m. The scene was a parking lot on Governor's Road. When police arrived, they found the victim suffering from gunshot wounds. He died at the scene. He has since been identified as 25-year-old Zachary Schumann, a single father who leaves behind a 3-year-old daughter. Today, Hamilton police announced 2 men have been charged in connection with this case.
30-year-old Andrew Kwolek of Dundas was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. And on Monday, August 11th, 27-year-old Musi Jerbamariam of Kitchener was arrested and also charged with second-degree murder.
Police won't get into a possible motive. We know it started in the parking lot of a grocery store. There was some type of interaction. Both vehicles then ended up in a condo parking lot a short distance away. Investigators allege one of the accused is a known drug trafficker in Hamilton. All 3 men knew each other.
So they are known to each other. There is the dispute that happens ahead of time. So Whether it was pre-planned or targeted, we don't know.
A GoFundMe site has been established to help raise money for the victim's daughter, who will now be cared for by her grandparents. John Musselman, CTV News in Hamilton.
Returning to our coverage of the wildfires, residents near Newfoundland's largest city have been told to evacuate.
It's extremely dry and hot. They say that the fire is moving very quickly. It's moving at a rate that's they consider to be quite high, and there's tremendous heat from the fire. So they're doing their best to contain it. But so far it's been a very challenging issue for them. It's the worst I've seen, and I think most here would say it's the worst that we've seen.
The province says people living in parts of the Paradise suburb of St. John's must leave immediately. It's home to about 23,000 people. A state of emergency has been declared in Paradise, the neighboring town of Conception Bay South, as well as the St. John's neighborhoods of Galway and Southlands. The fire, which is about 15 kilometers south of the capital, began Monday and grew to roughly 2 square kilometers by that evening.
In New Brunswick, 2 out-of-control wildfires are burning, and residents north of Moncton have been told to prepare to leave. But so far, there have been no evacuations and no homes or other structures have been lost in the province. 14 air tankers and 3 helicopters were part of the firefighting effort. One of the blazes south of Bathurst was contained by this morning.
On the West Coast, an out-of-control wildfire has forced the precautionary evacuation of a BC campground and marina southwest of Port Alberni. The blaze on Vancouver Island is more than 6 square kilometers in size. Elsewhere, hundreds of residents forced from their homes by a fire near Nanaimo have been told they can return home, but must stay on alert.
Ontario's Premier will meet with Mark Carney in Ottawa on Monday. Doug Ford will urge the Prime Minister to lower taxes in order to stimulate the economy. The Premier thinks Carney is doing a good job as PM and says this will be a heart-to-heart meeting. Ford says Canada needs to attract businesses and encourage growth as we deal with U.S. tariffs. The Premier says Carney already knows where he stands. This is not the first time he's called for measures to lower both personal and corporate taxes.
China is escalating its trade dispute with Canada, and canola farmers are caught in the middle again.
Beijing has announced massive anti-dumping duties, which will take effect on Thursday. CTV's national correspondent Judy Trinh reports on the latest retaliatory measures and the impact on farmers.
My farm is roughly half canola. So today is very devastating news, obviously, to me.
Andre Harp is one of 40,000 canola farmers in Canada who woke up to the news that China was imposing a 75.8% duty on the oilseed. Canola prices dropped $1 a bushel after the anti-dumping tariff was announced. More bad news for an industry contending with drought just weeks away from harvest.
Not only are we facing a yield loss, but at the same time, obviously now we're facing an income loss for whatever we do grow. So it's, right now this could be a double whammy.
In 2024, Canada exported $5 billion of canola to China. To justify its actions, China said that after conducting an investigation, it found that Canada was providing its farmers with unfair subsidies. This escalation has its roots in the former Liberal government's decision to impose tariffs on electric vehicles.
We will be introducing a 100% tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles.
The previous government in Ottawa had done this to align its policy on China with that of Washington, but we didn't get any brownie points.
The canola industry generates more than $40 billion annually and employs 200,000 people. Saskatchewan's premier says that's bigger than the steel, aluminum, and auto industry combined.
Canola producers hit with these Chinese tariffs, I would say that they deserve the same attention by our federal government and our prime minister as we're seeing in other industries.
To improve the Canada-China trading relationship, Premier Mo says that the Prime Minister needs to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping as soon as possible. Judy Trinh, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canadians will start seeing new nation-building projects approved early this fall. In an interview with CTV's Vashi Kapelos, the Energy Minister shed new light on the kinds of projects that could soon be green-lit. CTV's Rachel Aiello has the details.
I know there are buyers.
Canada's energy minister made it clear today that with multiple projects in the works and a global demand for cleaner energy, there's a market for Canadian liquefied natural gas that may help make the case for facilities to be fast-tracked through the new national projects process.
What I can tell you from the conversations that the Prime Minister has been having, the Minister of Foreign Affairs has been having, the Minister of International Trade has been having, the conversations I've been having, our allies are very interested in Canadian LNG.
A comment the natural resources sector welcomed.
More customers, more shipments, more LNG export facilities means more jobs for Canadians.
The minister said that as soon as the private sector, provincial governments, and Indigenous groups put forward projects, the federal government will start deciding which ones are in the national interest.
I would expect you would see a rolling set of announcements over the fall as different projects mature and meet the criteria.
While stating the government remains committed to its climate objectives, the minister wouldn't rule out easing federal emissions targets to move these projects forward.
The LNG emissions math is inescapable. So these projects in Canada result in significant increase in emissions. Like one project is equal to about 1 million cars.
Minister Hudson said that he's focused on results and not how we get there, indicating the powers Cabinet now has through Bill C-5 allows him to deal with any issues that arise. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canada has joined several other countries in signing a joint statement calling on Israel to allow unrestricted aid into the Gaza Strip. The foreign ministers of 24 nations say the suffering in the territory has reached unimaginable levels. They warn famine is unfolding before our eyes and urgent action is needed now to halt and reverse starvation. They insist all crossings and routes must be used to allow food, shelter, fuel, water, and medicine into the enclave. Israel has denied responsibility for hunger spreading in Gaza, accusing Hamas of stealing aid shipments.
Ontario's climate plan is set to be put to the legal test again. A constitutional challenge by a group of young climate activists is set to be heard for a second time in Ontario Superior Court. The new hearing in December comes after Canada's top court dismissed the province's request that it weigh in on the case. Lawyers for the activists have argued Ontario's 2018 decision to replace its climate target with a weaker one committed the province to dangerously high levels of greenhouse gases in violation of their charter rights. In 2022, a judge ruled against that argument, but the province's highest court sent the case back to the lower court for another hearing.
Classrooms across the province are, for the most part, still empty, but they won't be for long.
The start of the school year is just a few weeks away, and elementary educators are already pushing the province to keep class sizes in check. CTV's Natalie Johnson has the details.
With just a few weeks to go before kids go back to school, the union representing public elementary teachers is sounding the alarm over class sizes in the year ahead.
We've been saying this for years, but it's reached a critical mass, and we're saying that the government needs to invest in public education.
With 1 year to go before the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario contract expires, hundreds of educators met today in Toronto, declaring class size a top priority in their next round of bargaining talks.
Reduction in class size is one way to address some of the violence that we're seeing in schools. Reduction in class size means more one-to-one attention for our students.
Right now, grades 1 to 3 have an average class size of 20 students. Grades 4 to 8 have an average class size of 24.5, but there are no caps on class sizes for those grades, meaning some classes could have upwards of 30 students.
ADFO is now calling on the province to cap grade 4 to 8 classrooms at 24 students, kindergarten classrooms at 26.
The province did not respond to CTV News' request for comment. Some parents say they'll be watching class sizes closely this year.
I don't want them facing the same struggles that I had. You know, we always want our next generation to be what's best for our next of kin.
More resources for school is always good, although I wouldn't actually expect that to happen with the current government.
The teacher's current contract expires just days before the start of school in 2026. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
Coming up, Taylor Swift adding to her many eras, announcing an all-new album with her beau by her side.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, it's been a summer of heat waves, and if you don't have air conditioning, it's been difficult to keep cool. And if you do, your system has likely been running nonstop. One couple says even with a new heat pump, their home won't cool down. That story is just ahead.
Well, so far it's been a pretty quiet Atlantic hurricane season, but this is Tropical Storm Erin. It has developed and it has potential to become a hurricane a little bit later this week. Now, it is still a little early to determine how it's going to impact the Caribbean, the United States, or us here in Canada, but it'll be one to watch. And we are keeping an eye on the radar. We'll have a full look at your forecast coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
The GTA has had many extreme heat warnings this summer, and for those without air conditioning, it's been very difficult to stay cool.
If you do have air conditioning, your system has likely been working overtime, and some homeowners have still found it difficult to find relief. Here's Pat Foran and a Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. More homeowners are now installing heat pumps, which can heat your home in the winter and keep it cool in the summer. While most seem to work just fine, one couple says the heat pump they purchased has been unable to keep them cool. July and August have had dozens of days above 30 degrees Celsius with record-breaking heat. In this Mississauga home, Pramila and Ashok Lum say they've been running multiple fans in an effort to cool their house down, even though they bought a new heat pump system 2 years ago.
We had 6-7 fans in the house so that we can sleep overnight, and still it was a nightmare.
The Lums say the heat pump worked fine in the winter heating their home, but on extremely hot days, the temperature won't go lower than 29 degrees.
Last 2 weeks, when the weather was 35 degrees and 36 degrees outside, our house was 29 degrees, 30 degrees, 31 degrees.
The Lums say when they call the company that installed the heat pump, they do come. In fact, they've come 12 different times over the past 2 years, but they just can't seem to figure out what the problem is.
It's very hot, and they're giving us one excuse or the other.
The couple was told their furnace was compatible with a heat pump, but when the house wouldn't cool down, they were told they needed to replace it, even though it was only 7 years old.
And we ended up spending $4,500, which we didn't have to.
Ashok recently had heart and brain surgery. The couple says if the heat pump issue can't be repaired, they'd rather replace it with an air conditioner.
I want my money back so that I can go and get a regular air conditioner and keep my house cool.
CTV News contacted the company that installed the heat pump. They sent 3 technicians to try and resolve the problem and finally did. A spokesperson said performance issues can arise, and the primary concern was the heat pump's performance, a potential issue with the coil. The unit is now functioning properly, and we are reimbursing the couple $4,520 for the cost of the furnace. The Lums say their home is now cool, even during a heat wave.
Thank you very much, CTV, Pat Foran.
I'm so thankful to you all. I couldn't believe that things can go so fast.
And if your air conditioning system is not blowing cold, another thing it could be is a clogged or dirty air filter. You should replace it with a new one. And if you use a window air conditioner, they also have filters that need to be cleaned too. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, well, we finally got a little bit of rain. It was almost unusual, wasn't it?
I was thinking it's probably exciting for Lindsay to talk about rain because there's been so little rain that, wow, you get to chat about rain. Ideally, you know, nothing too stormy, but the rain we're probably getting isn't enough.
You're right. You're right on all counts. I mean, it's something different to talk about. There's certainly been no shortage of weather to talk about this summer, but yes, many people rejoicing. I don't remember, in fact, the last time I've seen so many people excited to see rain in the summer season. We needed it. It likely is not enough, but we will take anything we can get. Here's what it looked like not too long ago on Highway 404. In fact, those windshield wipers working overtime. Watch out for some hydroplaning in some areas as a result of all this rain. Here's the thing. It can sometimes be too much of a good thing when it falls all at once. The ground is very dry. It can cause a lot of runoff, maybe some localized flooding in some cases. And I just want to remind you of the fact that before today, we had no rain in the month of August. So here's a little bit of a tally. Just about everyone in southern Ontario below average as far as their total summer rainfall. In July, we did have above average in Toronto, but again, it came in just a couple of quick spurts and it came all at once. Here's another look at the satellite and radar. The active weather cells have dissipated somewhat around the Hamilton area and around the GTA. That rain, for the most part, has moved out of the downtown. Might see a few more showers creeping back in. The more stormy weather right now is to the south of Lake Simcoe and again, the north end of the Kawartha Lakes. I'm crossing my fingers that this is doing something to help with the wildfire situation. Hopefully it does. And later on tonight, we could see a few more storms fire up along the shoreline of Lake Huron. Maybe a few passing showers here in the GTA, but it looks like our next best opportunity for some wet weather could come tomorrow afternoon. So maybe grab the umbrella as you are heading out the door. In the wake of that front, things are really going to start to dry out again and also cool down somewhat. And cool down is a relative term because it's not going to be cold, but we are not going to be nearly as humid as we've been. So a refreshing feel heading into Thursday, Friday. It's going to be a nice change, I think, for most. This heat warning is still in place. I anticipate it will remain for the night tonight before we see it come to an end tomorrow. There's a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in place. Again, that's to the east of Lake Simcoe in the Kawartha Lakes areas. It is 27 degrees right now in Toronto. You know, at one point this afternoon, it was 34, feeling into the 40s. It feels like 36 right now, so not so bad. If you are hoping to venture out and about this evening, again, just be mindful of the fact that the chance of showers, risk of thunderstorms remain. Good idea to have a backup indoor option. If you're going to be on a patio, make sure you can move into the restaurant. Overnight tonight, 22 is our forecast low. That's still a little uncomfortable for sleeping. Tomorrow, 29 degrees is going to feel like 37, and then we are much less humid for Thursday and for Friday. For example, 29 is going to feel like 33. Enjoy the sunshine. Heat does return as we make our way into next weekend, but let me show you what is expected through the early part of next week. After a few late day showers on Sunday, look at our high on Monday. We might only make it to about 22 degrees, so suddenly below seasonal. That's the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, Mind Over Music. A new study looks at how the brain benefits from musical training and why playing an instrument might slow the aging process.
There is more evidence tonight underscoring the power of music and the positive impact on our health.
A new study by Baycrest found that playing an instrument may protect against cognitive aging. CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan has the story.
I've been playing piano since kindergarten. I started taking piano lessons at the Royal Conservatory of Music.
The study by Claude Alain and others involved measuring the brain activity of 25 older musicians, 25 older non-musicians, and 24 young non-musicians using MRI.
One has to do as looking at the benefit of musical training and to what extent it improves perceptual and cognitive function in young adults, for example. And in addition to that, we also have some research looking at age-related change in perception and cognition.
Normal aging is typically associated with declines in sensory and cognitive functions, and those age-related changes are usually accompanied by increased neural activity.
The finding was quite surprising. We thought that maybe what will happen with music training is that older adults may have more efficient activity and may even generate more activity that we thought could index some compensatory mechanisms. But what we found was the opposite.
In other words, the brain activity in older musicians did not have to increase to perform certain cognitive tasks. It remained more like that of a young adult.
Music training is helping you keep a younger brain.
Richard says he stopped playing music for some years, but came back to it after his father, who was a band leader, passed away.
I try actually to play a lot of the songs that I know in different styles. I'll play like a slower waltz thing in a rock and roll style.
And the research indicates that even years after musical training, the brain retains cognitive benefits. And even when music training starts late in life, it still helps, as do other lifestyle choices, such as learning a new language.
This is, I think, very exciting because you can imagine in terms of education, that we should probably have music class the same way we have gym class, for example.
For Richard Parnes, the benefits are first of all enjoyment for himself and his audience, but the brain benefits are certainly welcome. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
From music to movies now. TIFF has announced some of the stars taking part in next month's In Conversation With series. Canadian actor Ryan Reynolds will be joined by Dwayne Johnson and Tessa Thompson. They will participate in candid talks about their careers and craft. Others involved in the series this year include filmmakers Park Chan-wook and Nia DaCosta. The Toronto International Film Festival runs from September 4th to the 14th.
Taylor Swift's record-breaking Eras tour was the highest-grossing tour of all time, earning more than $2.2 billion.
But the pop superstar hasn't taken much time off since it wrapped, and tonight her fans are buzzing because new music is coming, and Swift chose a novel way to announce it. CTV's Andrea Case reports.
Speculation about an announcement from Taylor Swift was running rampant on Monday after this teaser promoting a special guest on her NFL star boyfriend Travis Kelce and his brother Jason's popular podcast, New Heights. Sleuths quickly figured out this cutout matched this photo. Then, 12 minutes later, Taylor Nation, an official branch of her marketing team, posted photos of Swift wearing orange and the caption, thinking about when she said, "See you next era." Then this.
Such a nice color on you.
Yes. She broke the news herself this morning, August 12th at 12:12. She would be releasing her 12th album.
So I wanted to show you something.
Okay. What do we got?
We got
A briefcase.
Yep.
Mint green with TS on it.
Yep.
What's in it?
This is my brand new album, The Life of a Showgirl.
I think it's awesome. I love Taylor Swift.
Why is it awesome?
Because all her music's great.
I think that's great. I mean, I've been listening to Taylor since as a kid too, since 2012. So new album, that's crazy. It's great.
While the 35-year-old 14-time Grammy winner has often referred to her ex-boyfriends in her lyrics, she's never made an album announcement this way and rarely does interviews or appears on podcasts. No official date has been given as to when it will be released, but fans can pre-order The Life of a Showgirl on Swift's website now, and vinyl editions will be shipped before October 13th.
I think she's done extremely well. I think she's conducted herself in a very professional, amazing way, really. I think that she deserves all of the success she has.
Andrea Case, CTV News.
After the break, what's next after the incredible summer of summer? The swimming sensation does a few laps at home after her record-breaking success in the pool in Singapore.
Personnel from the Halliburton Fire Management Headquarters are responding to the fire with 5 fire ranger crews and air attack. The fire is not under control.
Updating our top stories, 3 wildfires continue to burn in cottage country. 2 of them are considered out of control. The city of Kawartha Lake says it is prepared for an evacuation if needed. Meanwhile, several cities across the GTA have issued fire bans, including Aurora, Oshawa, and Oakville.
No joke, we have really good food down here. You will not be disappointed.
Businesses in Toronto's Little Jamaica are welcoming back more customers following the completion of the LRT. About 30 businesses closed since the work began, but now the neighborhood's vibrancy is returning, and that includes this week's Rasta Fest along Eglinton Avenue West.
In a case where a driver is charged with dangerous driving, why on earth do we allow them to continue driving?
A court appearance by phone today for the suspect in a crash that killed a man and injured his wife and 3 children. Jaiwin Kirubananthan has been charged with dangerous driving causing death and fleeing the scene. He has a bail hearing tomorrow. He was also charged in a collision with a car carrying Premier Ford back in January.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video breaking news, let us know.
On the markets, the Canadian dollar is up a fraction to 72.60 cents U.S. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it down to $50.25 a barrel. And the TSX ending the day up 146 points to 27,921.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
About 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants could issue a strike notice within hours at 12:01 a.m. Their union has refused a proposal from the airline to enter a binding arbitration process. If a deal isn't reached, the earliest a strike could happen is Saturday at 12:01 midnight. Air Canada said yesterday it remains at the bargaining table and is focused on achieving a negotiated settlement without any disruption to travel.
Operations have returned to normal after WestJet experienced a network-wide technical issue this morning. It affected flights at several Canadian airports, including Pearson. The problem delayed the handover of aircraft from maintenance personnel for scheduled operation. Passengers were advised to check their flight status before heading to the airport.
The company behind the now defunct Hudson's Bay department store has changed its name. It's now called Rupert Legacy. The name refers to the Bay's first governor, Prince Rupert, and Rupert's Land, an area given to the company in the 1700s when it was a fur trader. The name change is part of Hudson's Bay's sale of its intellectual property to Canadian Tire. Fresh off of her dominating performance at the World Swimming Championships, Summer McIntosh is back home for some well-deserved R&R.
The soon-to-be 19-year-old won 4 gold medals for Canada in Singapore, and this morning she spoke to CP24 about what drives her.
I love the day-to-day grind of training and things like that, and of course I love the racing even more, and that adrenaline rush when you walk out, and how you feel in the water with the crowd roaring and things like that. So those are all things that I really keep in mind on a day-to-day basis, and it's kind of like an itch that I have to scratch every now and then. But I just love the passion and the sport so much, and I have so much admiration for what I've been able to do and what me and my friends and my teammates have been able to do. And I think anytime I see any of my teammates have an amazing swimming, we kind of motivate each other to keep pushing and moving forward.
McIntosh won gold in the 400 and 200-meter individual medley, the 200 butterfly, and 400 freestyle. While she says she can't wait to get back in the pool, McIntosh says she'll take some time now to relax with friends and family in cottage country before getting her wisdom teeth out on her birthday in a few days.
The Blue Jays open a 3-game set against the Chicago Cubs at home tonight.
He got him! 2 down.
The Jays are coming off a dramatic 5-4 win over the LA Dodgers on Sunday. Jose Barrios will be on the mound for the Jays, who lead the American League and are 4.5 games up on the Boston Red Sox in the East. First pitch tonight is just after 7 p.m.
Just ahead, it is a night to look up. The Perseid meteor shower is set to peak, putting on a spectacle of streaks across the atmosphere. We check in with the experts on where to look and when for the best viewing experience.
Concerns over increasing evacuation alerts.
I have 2 kids, so we're taking sentimental stuff belonging to them.
How many Canadians are in danger tonight as wildfires advance across several provinces? Later on CTV National News.
Stargazers will no doubt have their eyes on the skies tonight.
Mother Nature set to put on a sparkling show as the annual Perseid meteor shower reaches its peak. CTV's Allison Hurst has more on your best viewing options.
Tonight, look up, way up, to see a stunning show streak across the night sky.
This particular meteor shower is known for some larger pieces that can be very spectacular and bring a very bright light as they break up and disintegrate in the atmosphere.
The annual Perseid meteor shower is at its peak tonight, named from the constellation Perseus.
We can see up to 100 meteors an hour, so more than 1 a minute.
However, spectators will be fighting a bright moon and city lights and wildfire smoke in certain areas.
I would definitely recommend to look, regardless of the brightness of the sky or even if it's a little bit smoky. Because it's such a bright shower, you are more likely to see the really bright streaks that, like, you can see them with quite a bit of light pollution around.
The shower is caused by debris left from Comet Swift-Tuttle, which last passed by in 1992.
We are passing through a cloud of icy debris that was left over from a comet that visits us every 133 years.
Associate Professor Robin Metcalf says the streaks can be fun to try and photograph and recommends using a long exposure shot of 10 to 30 seconds.
Ideally, you want to turn down your light sensitivity with your ISO if you can. It can be kind of addictive to just sit there with your phone and try to capture one of those streaks.
Wherever the sky is darkest is best to view the shower.
Just before the moon rises, you might have your best chance to see the meteors from this particular meteor shower. So look to the northeast. The constellation will be low in the sky,
which this year is between 9 and 10 p.m. Allison Hurst, CTV News.
All right, so maybe watch tonight.
Great advice there, although the weather does factor in.
Yes.
So is it going to ruin this? Or?
Well, I don't think it'll ruin it, but we do have some active weather out there right now. So some cloud cover, some showers in some areas. Here's one more look at the satellite and radar. Do want to mention tomorrow night might be a little better for viewing those meteor showers. Quite gorgeous when you do get to enjoy it. Severe thunderstorm warnings have come to an end. That is good news. We're going to watch for another round possibly as we make our way through the evening and especially late evening tonight. Tomorrow's high, 29 degrees, will feel like 37. So it's not as hot, but it is still pretty warm and perhaps uncomfortable. We get a bit of a break from the extreme humidity for Thursday and Friday, but it does return for the weekend. 32 degrees on Saturday, but compare that to 22 on Monday. So a change in store for next week. Michelle and Nathan.
Thanks, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Heather Wright tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zarada Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here, thanks for watching and have a great night.